Today I want to bring you a perspective on what it takes to have a great life in South Africa. What does it take to prosper in South Africa? Now, I'm going to relay some of my experiences and most certainly where I have gained my experience from is 30 years of operating and owning businesses in South Africa, being a business consultant dealing specifically with transformation. I've dealt with numerous land claim issues for clients. I've been the representative of an academic trade union at a local university. I've been a forensic investigator for employers based on their association with an employers organization. I've been the CEO of a company representing shareholders. I have quite extensive experience in working in South Africa, and I certainly see a future in South Africa. I accept that it's not everybody's type of future. A lot of people choose to have a simpler lifestyle that requires less decision making and less risk. That doesn't suit me. I certainly wouldn't like to have live in a nanny state. That wouldn't suit me at all. So I'm speaking to people that are like-minded to how I am. I can't speak for everybody else. I can only speak for myself. All right. So let's begin by let me say that I have free will. I can react to a situation the way that I choose to react to it. It's not determined to me by anything other than my own choices, how I react. Having said that, I think it's quite plausible to say that nobody has unlimited free will. We have constraints. Our choices are most certainly constrained by ethics and morals and legislation. But in those constraints lie the opportunity for a functional person. Let me use the example of a game of chess. Chess is limited by a board that has certain parameters to it and is limited by the pieces on the board that are limited to certain movements. Yet, in a game of chess, there are hundreds of millions of moves that you can make, and there are hundreds of millions of counter moves, and together with that, there's virtually unlimited choices in what you can and can't do in a game of chess. Take a more complex game like rugby. You're limited by the field and you're limited by the rules of the game. But in the game, there are unlimited possibilities as to how the game can play out. This is why no two games are ever the same. They're not even near the same. The possibilities in terms of the motivation and the determination of the team, coupled with the skill of the players, determines unlimited possibilities. Yet we live in a closed world. I don't think there's any doubt about it. It is a closed world. There are limitations on us, and in a certain way, many people do feel constrained, and they feel threat. They feel threat by the constraints of the world, and I say that is where the opportunities lie. When you drive a car, when you get in a car, you choose the destination you're going to go to, and it's you put together a sequence of automated processes that determine how you drive the vehicle. Certainly, when we learn a new thing, like driving a car, it can be stressful. If you think back to when you learn to drive a car, it's relatively stressful. But once you master it, the only stress is trying to determine what another driver is going to do and avoid a collision. So the choice is difficult. Fundamentally, where we have the most opportunity in South Africa is certainly how we choose to deal with other people, how we react to other people. That is most certainly where the opportunity lies. How we treat and react to people is our choice. Now, intelligence is the ability to adapt. Now, I know that some people accept this philosophy, but it most certainly is a real philosophy. How we choose to adapt to circumstances determines our success or failure. Some people choose to adapt to the situation in South Africa by leaving. Some people choose to adapt to the situation in South Africa by looking at the threat and determining an opportunity. And some people don't adapt. Keeping our eye on the ball, keeping the eye on the ball is probably one of the most important factors in South Africa right now. Situational awareness. It's important. How important? How important is that? Let me give you an experience I had. Going back a few years, I had a client in Westmead. It was a bakery, quite a big bakery, and they had retained myself and two of my colleagues for a transformation of the business in line with current legislation, and in so required certain procedures to be put together by ourselves. Now, I arrived one Thursday afternoon for our scheduled 2:30 meeting, and as I drove up to the front door, I saw Samantha being ushered out with about two guys that I didn't recognize, and as I was parking the car, and as she and the two guys came past me, I saw that they had a gun. The firearm was pointing into her back, and they scuttled off around the corner, and no sooner had they gone out of the front door when Dave, the CEO of the company, came in and said, "Peter, we've just been robbed and they've taken Samantha as hostage." Now, it wasn't what I was planning for the Thursday afternoon session. However, it was something that I had to react to. I knew that if they took Samantha, it would be devastating to her and to her family, the consequences, no matter what. So I said, jump in the car, and we shot off to the security and said, shut the gates down, don't let anyone in or out. There's an armed robbery in progress, and there's hostages. The security guys shut the doors down. We chased after the guys that had taken Samantha hostage and came across them at the back of the building, and they were in the process of hijacking a contractor's bucky. In fact, they were already in the bucky with Samantha, and we parked across the back, jumped out. I managed to get Samantha away from them, and Dave took Samantha and went behind the vehicle, and in the fray, I was taken hostage. Now, not something that I had thought through in the beginning, because my objective was to rescue Samantha, and she was rescued. The guys put me into my vehicle. It was a Mercedes Vito bus, and had one guy next to me and one guy behind me, gun pointing at me, and they said, "Drive." Well, no matter who you are or what movies you watched or what experience you have, when you have a loaded weapon pointed at your head, you do what you're told. That's the pretty much the limitations of your options. So I drove, of course, arrived at the security gate, and the guys see my vehicle, open the gate, and I drive through. And I'm thinking, well, this is not what I had planned for today. Driving down into the township, Mary Ridge area, down, I'm thinking, what do I do? And instinct kicked in. I thought, well, what I need to do, I need to narrow my entire focus down to one point, and my objective today is to have dinner with my family. We drive through taxi rank area, through the informal traders, through a few roads, and arrive eventually at a tavern, and the guys say, "Stop here." So I stopped. The guy put it was a 38 special, put it on my temple, pulled the trigger twice, but after the first click, my paradigm shifted, simply because the only reason I was being compliant with this person as he was pointing a firearm at me. I had no way of knowing whether it was loaded or not. I had to, my choice was that it was loaded, I will comply. The moment it didn't go off, I changed my action to the offensive and pushed the guy out of the car, the guy with the firearm, had to subdue him a little, pushed him out, turned to the guy that was behind me who was frozen in shock at the sudden change of circumstances. Because remember, this is now seconds, 2 or 3 seconds from when the gun was fired at me to when I was pushing the first guy out the car, had him out the car, and was now in the back of the Vito getting the second guy out of the car. The second guy was taken, my assault on him caused him to lose control of his bodily functions. I got him out the car and jumped back into the driving position. But let me just say at this point that the speed of my reaction to the firearm not going off was critical to this, because when we arrived at the tavern, the people in the tavern started coming out to see what was going on, and some of them recognized their colleagues and recognized that there was a white guy driving a Mercedes with these guys in. So they were coming in. They were coming in to I don't know, do whatever they were that kind of person or that kind of crowd would do. Upon them seeing me ejecting these people out, they rushed at the car. I managed to engage first gear and let the clutch out within a fraction of a second to me being pulled out of the car and absolutely murdered. That was I could determine that's what the change in the mood was, and that was what they were deciding to do. I got out of there within a fraction of a second. You know, it's the decision. It's having me having determined what I was going to do. The fact that I had one objective, not to hurt people or to escape. My objective was to have dinner with my family that night, and I did. Now, this is one of the circumstances that people do find themselves in South Africa. It's not the only time I've been through a similar circumstance. In my line of work, this kind of thing happens from time to time. It's not pleasant, but the better your situational awareness and the better that you are skilled at dealing with it, the less it happens. And when it does happen, the less effect it has. Certainly, since this event, I haven't come close to being at that level of danger again because of the lessons I learned and the processes I put in place. Right, so what do we have? What are the opportunities in South Africa? We have an unprecedented economies of scale in terms of marketplace requirement. There is no doubt that there is a lot of opportunity. And capable people always trump incapable people. There is no question that there is opportunity for people who have the right mindset, who have the correct set of principles in their lives to avail themselves of the opportunity, because you can be absolutely sure that there is a lot of opportunity simply because of the basis of government legislation placing people in positions that they aren't necessarily skilled at. Services still need to be delivered. Circumstances of market penetration and market awareness and production capacity need to be met. And with skilled, capable people with a good work ethic that have situational awareness, there is an unprecedented opportunity. But you have to be the kind of person that accepts that Africa is not for sissies, and Africa is a place where you truly want to be.